Hello and welcome to Feast Your Eyes. We look at how films tell stories with and about food. Kelly Reichardt's third feature film, Wendy and Lucy, is also seemingly her simplest. Wendy is living out of her car, travelling north with her dog Lucy, in the hope of finding work. The car breaks down, and what should be a road movie gets stuck in a small town. Wendy visits a supermarket and shoplifts some cans of dog food. She's caught and subjected to a conspicuously uncinematic arrest. Crime and punishment here is a matter of boredom, discomfort, and bureaucracy. Meanwhile, Wendy is separated from Lucy, the very companion she was trying to provide for. Reichardt is working in the tradition of neo-realist cinema, where theft is not about greed, but is a fact of poverty and desperation. The theft of food in particular is a recurrent cultural shorthand. The image of a poor wretch stealing a loaf of bread is the archetype of blameless poverty, justified crime, and disproportionate punishment.
I'll have your hands for a trophy, street rat!
All this for a loaf of bread?
This story is told to point out the inequities of criminal justice.
This badge of shame you'll show it till you die. It warns you're a dangerous man.
I stole a loaf of bread.
Sometimes to the point of absurdity.
Is it wrong to steal a loaf of bread to feed your starving family?
No.
Well, suppose you got a large starving family. Is it wrong to steal a truckload of bread to feed them? And what if your family don't like bread? They like cigarettes.
I guess that's okay.
And of course Reichardt's later film, First Cow, tells an origin myth for the American dream and suggests that the entire foundations of capitalism are inseparable from food theft, illegal and otherwise.
Hey there. Ow!
Ma'am.
Ow, let go of me.
When Wendy is caught stealing, it's by a zealous young shop attendant. His insistence on her punishment is contrasted by how little he has to lose.
If a person can't afford dog food, they shouldn't have a dog. Andy.
Later, we see him being picked up from work by his mother.
Yeah, have a great night, okay?
A great irony, given that Wendy's crisis begins when she can't afford to repair her own car.
You know your son's a real hero!
The store manager is clearly reluctant to send Wendy to jail, but his hand is forced by both the company he works for and the pressure to uphold the image of perfect law and order for his young employee.
Your employee has the wrong idea.
The rules apply to everyone equally.
It's not the only time Wendy's fate depends on how far individual kindness can stretch within the capitalist machine. The mechanic only has bad news for Wendy.
But it's just right there.
Well, it's always 50, but there's no mileage here, so it's just 50.
He offers a paltry discount that, while well-intentioned, only underlines her desperate situation.
$30. I'll give you a deal.
The security guard hassles Wendy off the parking lot.
You can't sleep out here, it's not allowed.
Okay.
But he also befriends her and makes sincere offers of help.
I want you to take this. Don't argue.
He even gives her some of his own cash. $7, which we mentally balance with all the other figures floating around in the film. $30 to tow the car, $125 for a new part, $50 police fine. That leaves $270 left until Alaska. I can't help but think of how Wendy agonized over buying this breakfast, so she could have somewhere to wait until the garage opened. Wendy even gives away the trash she has collected for the recycling plant.
It's not many cans. It's not worth the wait.
But it's an act done more out of frustration than kindness.
Okay, you can just take this. That's
you
fine.
sure?
Yeah, that's fine.
The prestige of philanthropy is not available to everybody.
So that's pretty cool.
Now this tension between solidarity and punishment, between giving and denying, ultimately between hope and hopelessness, is also part of the story of poverty.
You can't buy no loaf of bread for a dime. We only got 15-cent loaves. Give him the bread.
We'll run out before the bread truck comes.
All right, then we run out.
And this story, too, is often told with food.
I'd much rather help my fellow man than some
Spare
animal.
a dollar?
Oh, get away from me, you bum!
Buffy, can't you see he's just hungry? Here you go, sir. A nice sandwich for you. See?
I said a dollar, bitch.
Ow!
A system based on charity is no more just than any other. But if solidarity is the governing force of our behaviour, then we might see something resembling justice. The problem is that under capitalism, the institutions that hold up this system, whether supermarkets, garages, or prisons, are so often at odds with the people that keep them running. To insist that food theft is punished would take a great deal of either naivety.
It's about setting an example, right?
I'm not from around here, sir. I can't be an example.
Or cynicism.
We have a policy, ma'am.
A combination of the two, as in this film, is especially dangerous. Wendy and Lucy shows, then, that the social role of food is not only to bring people together, but also to delineate right and wrong, to clarify what counts as a crime and who suffers its consequences. Wendy's journey on the open road, her own take on the American dream, is undermined at every turn by the impossibility of holding on to the freedom that it promises.